Welcome to the Fourth and Short podcast, the breakdown of the hottest topics on the Schuylkill League sports scene, with your hosts, Eli Doyle and Leroy Boyer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the T102 SportsNow.com's weekly podcast, Fourth and Short. We are live here in the gymnasium at Williams Valley High School. The Vikings football team will take on Schuylkill Haven on Friday night in a District 11 Class AA championship game. That game is at 7 o'clock at Blue Mountain High School's Eagles Nest. You can hear it live on T102 101.9 FM. Joining us this week here for our first segment of the podcast, that's Eli Doyle all the way over there. I'm Leroy Boyer. These are members of the Williams Valley football team. Head coach Steven Sadesi, quarterback Brady Schomper, wide receiver Kean Krzyzanowski, and running back Fletcher Thompson. Guys, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, Brady, we'll start with you. Last year, as the quarterback of this football team, it was a run-first offense. You didn't throw the ball much. And even when you guys wanted to throw the ball, sometimes it wasn't you.
Yeah.
This year, 103 for 173, 2,145 yards, and 33 touchdowns with just 9 interceptions. Talk about what you did between this time last year and now, and how amazing is all this?
It's amazing. It's just used to getting comfortable with the new offense that we put in this year. I had a lot of sets, and it's been working good.
How hard was it to learn the passing game?
It wasn't that hard, honestly. We have Coach Scoop over here, the quarterback coach, and he taught me a lot.
Fletcher, you had maybe the biggest shoes to fill on this team. Alex Achenbach broke every record possible almost out here, but that hasn't fazed you. Your dad was a great running back here. You stepped right in from game one and was the guy to carry the ball. And so far this season, 171 carries, 1,341 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Just talk about, being the guy carrying the ball and how it took you to get comfortable.
So my coaches have helped me a lot, and even Alex from last year, he used to bring me up from the practices, and he'd bring me up on the field, and I would always work in with the running back drills and stuff. And I had to work a lot in the weight room a lot because I was kind of a smaller kid. And, yeah.
So Williams Valley's running game, and I think I said this last week, didn't I? I talked to a coach of a different team, and they were comparing teams, and they said when you watch Williams Valley, it's like a poetry in motion offense. The linemen aren't gigantic. They're not like Schuylkill Haven or North Schuylkill big, but they know exactly who they're supposed to block. And the whole offense just flows. And then you're ripping off big plays. Just talk about that. Any of you can try and chime in. Just how neat is it to the blocking scheme and everything you guys do, and it seems to work.
I'd say it's the one from the coaches, the way they teach us how to block, the discipline that they have for the line. It's very good at practice now. Teaching us who to block, not me, not us, but the line, who to block.
We try to run multiple plays in one, Leroy. That's what we try to do. So if we can get 4 or 5 plays that look the same and go to a different guy, that's what we try to do. We try to open stuff up that way for him, and that's kind of what gets our line flowing one way, and then we can go back away from it or continue to go with it.
Kyle, there's been several awesome wide receivers out here at Williams Valley. O.J. Grove played when I was in school. Owen Daniel came after him. You're rewriting all their records. 60 catches. You need, one more catch for a single season record. 1,161 yards, clearly the most yards of anybody in our area, and 16 touchdowns. The yards record and the touchdown record are now yours. Just talk about that. I don't think you could have envisioned the season with those kind of numbers when it was in July and August.
Yeah. We put a lot of work in this summer, me and Brady throwing the ball, and we clipped on the field this year.
Hey, so for Coach here, there's a history out here of just tough, gritty football players from the time they're in midgets all the way to high school. Just tell me about this group a little bit. Tell me how special it's been to really coach this group.
Yeah, I mean, the youth program's always been great here, but these kids coming up through now in my second year, the senior class this year really stepped up. It's a little different than the senior class last year. It was real small. This year, a lot of our key players are in the senior, age range. So them just growing up and then attaching to these younger kids like Brady and Fletch. You won't even know Fletch was a freshman, to start the year. They took him under their wing right away. So it's been awesome to have some seniors become leaders and be like coaches on the field.
And for you guys, we can sit here and talk about offense all day. I love talking offense. I love talking about your offense specifically. Me and Leroy, we talked about this poetry in motion kind of sense. We're both English literature teachers in our free time, so we enjoy those analogies and stuff. But tell me about the defense. Like I said, you guys are gritty. There's a history of tough-nosed football out here. Just talk about yourselves defensively a little bit. You guys tackle very well year in and year out. Just tell me what goes into that.
Well, that just comes with heart, wanting it more than the other team, and I think that's what we do every Friday night.
Yeah, you take a little bit of pride in defense and understand each defensive player has an assignment, and if they do their job and what they're supposed to do, you can stop anybody. It's just about being disciplined and filling your gaps, and that's what we try to get across as the season goes on. And it seems like the past 2 years, at this time of year, our defense has been getting a lot better, just clicking a little better at this time of the year.
So you play Schuylkill Haven on Friday. They're the team that handed you your only loss. 38-30 in a really close game. Kyle, we'll start with you. So you took the opening kickoff back for a touchdown in that game. Describe that play for us and how awesome it was to start a game of that magnitude with a play like that.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. They kicked it right to me. I went up, cut to the left, and there was no one there.
And it was a touchdown. So you guys fall behind in that game. 32-14. Lots of other things going on that we won't really talk about. But you guys never quit. Just talk about that between Brady and Fletcher. You scored 2 touchdowns in the second half. You're one defensive stop away from getting the ball back and maybe winning the game.
Okay. A lot of us have heart and determination not to lose, so when we get down, we know that we got to do better on the field and pick up our mistakes, and that's what we did. We just came up short.
What does Haven's defense do from a running back standpoint that makes it tough?
They have a very good line, and they're always shutting off the blocks and that, and they're very physical, so it's kind of hard to find the hole there in the middle.
The one thing Haven does not do kind of well is cover speedy guys who catch the football. Is that something that, hey, maybe we can kind of take advantage? You had 2 touchdown passes in that second half, and they were long pass plays.
Yeah, of course. We just got to find the open guy. We know we can get them open, we just got to find them.
A lot of man-to-man in the back half, so try to work it. I mean, we worked it a little bit in the second half of the first time around, and some of them worked, some of them didn't, but we just got to know when to throw it this way and when to throw it out, when to dump it down. So I think as the season built on this year, Champ here got a lot better at that, getting through reads and not always going to the first guy and kind of waiting for someone to get open. So I think we got a little better in our passing games the first time around, for sure.
Guys, before we get wrapping up here, I just want to go down to each one of these here and just tell me one thing about the culture out here. You guys do such a good job year in and year out of just molding together and becoming such a great team at whatever time, week 1, week 7, whatever time of the year.
Yeah.
It just seems like you guys have all played together, you're a cohesive unit, you have chemistry. Just tell me what goes into the culture. What comes to your mind when you say Williams Valley culture?
Well, it starts when we're little, we're all together playing when we're little, so it kind of just grows as we're getting older, and a lot of work in the off-season helps too.
Yeah, we've all been playing together since Pee-wees. Every single person on the team wants to win. We all put in the work to do that.
Yeah, I think it's about very physical football players, and we always are working hard to keep going.
This is the 17th straight season that Williams Valley is in the District 11 playoffs. This would be title number 8 in that span if they win Friday night. Guys, what would that mean to go back-to-back? Because you won last year in a similar fashion, beating Schuylkill Haven in the finals. What would it mean for you guys to win Friday and to move on?
It means everything, Each year we're coming in. A lot of people are doubting us, ranking us low, so it just makes us want to strive more to that district championship and go farther than just that.
It would be a great feeling. I've never been on the team when we won a district championship, but I know when I do, I'll love the feeling. Yeah, same thing. Come back, win 2 years in a row. It's going to be awesome.
Guys, this is the Williams Valley Vikings. They play Schuylkill Haven on Friday in the District 11 Class AA Championship game, Blue Mountain, 7 o'clock. We'll be right back with the second part of this week's 4th and Short podcast.
What's up? It's Matty Fresh. You're listening to the 4th and Short podcast with Eli and Leroy on T102 SportsNow.com.
We're back here with this week's T102SportsNow.com's edition of the Fourth and Short podcast. That's Eli Doyle. I'm Leroy Boyer. And Eli, we're wrapping it up here in the high school football season. We started with 16 teams. We're down to 2. 4 teams saw their season come to an end over the past weekend. We'll start Thursday with Pottsville. Pottsville builds a 34-13 lead in the first half against Southern Lehigh, and then watches it systematically disappear with running of Sean Steckert and running of Sean Steckert and running of Sean Steckert and more running of Sean Steckert. And Southern Lehigh scores with 9 seconds left in the first half, 9 seconds left in the game to win 41-34. Very gallant effort by Pottsville, but they just couldn't make the plays in the second half when they had to.
Yeah, I think you nailed that one on the head. I don't think a lot of people expected Pottsville to still be playing at this point in the year. Last week, of course, at that point in the year, I don't think a lot of people expected Pottsville to reach 6 wins on the year. So for Pottsville, they're playing with house money, so to say. Not the way, of course, you want your season to end by any means. Getting shut out in the second half, but building for the year to come.
Pottsville has a lot of seniors that played instrumental roles on that team. They do bring a ton of kids back that did get to play. Andrew Allen had a big breakout year at quarterback. Juju Bainbridge was a boulder, sometimes rolling through defenses. He had a big year as well, and a big game against Southern Lehigh. Pottsville played an almost perfect first half, but those underclassmen are going to have to step up. There's going to be kids that we haven't heard from or seen yet that are going to be key players in that team next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed that one on the head.
So the other team in 4A, Southern Lehigh advances to the 4A championship game. They'll play Bethlehem Catholic. Bethlehem Catholic dominated Lehighton 35-14. The Indians, also a team that nobody really expected to still be alive. In Week 12, they upset Blue Mountain in the first round of districts. That Lehighton team had some talent. They bring some kids back. Jace Lawrence will be back. 2 of his receivers will be back. I think Lehighton, they could be a team that could be a playoff contender again next year.
Absolutely. They were a team that was kind of up and down this year, and admittedly, Coach McCarroll, on record said a couple times, they were riding that wave, right? They were riding their ups just as hard as they were riding their downs, right? So they got hot at the end of the year. They kept riding that momentum, played good fundamental football at the end of the year. They just couldn't get it done against Bethlehem Catholic, and that's what happens sometimes.
You saw Tri-Valley. Tri-Valley is the District 11 Single A champs. They were the last Single A team left standing. Unfortunately, they had to play Lackawanna Trail in the District 211 Single A sub-regional final, and Lac Trail is really good.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They took it to the Dogs 42-0. Long ride to take one on the chin. Still, Tri-Valley, an excellent season for them.
Absolutely. I think you nailed that one too. For the Dogs, they went into a game that against a team that very much mirrored, if you had to put them on a county team, they'd be like Schuylkill Haven, very run heavy. They did throw the ball a couple times. I kind of credited that too as they were gearing up for the PIAA playoffs, right? Making sure that Lac Trail had that wrinkles to their offense, but it just wasn't, Tri-Valley's game from the get-go. And, the Dogs did play valiant. They did play hard to the end of the game. It just wasn't their game.
Tri-Valley only has a handful of seniors on that squad. They will need a quarterback. Blake Schwartz was their quarterback, threw for over 1,000 yards. He graduates. But Cole Gemberling and Parker Hatter, the 1-2 running back punch, they both come back. Trey Porter comes back. Lucas Schwartz comes back. I think if their linemen get bigger and stronger over the offseason and they find a quarterback, Tri-Valley could be, in a similar Class A favorite role, in 2025.
Absolutely. I think that's spot on. I think Tri-Valley is one of those teams that sometimes you get those kids that you've never heard of before until they get to high school, and they can make an impact.
We know there's athletes. You and I both heavily involved in the senior league and in baseball, and there's a lot of athletes
Absolutely.
on that junior team and on the senior, the senior level. They didn't have a senior team this year, but that age group that are coming up. So look for big things ahead for Tri-Valley. The last team that saw its season come to an end was North Schuylkill in the District 11 3A championship game, and it was the odds were stacked against North Schuylkill from the time they got on the bus. I mean, Luke Miller did not play. Kevin Jones did not play. Landon Smith did not play. There was a couple of linemen that did not play. And then on the second series of the game, Caden Mangle gets hurt.
Yeah.
So your top 3 offensive weapons are hurt and not playing. And credit to Michael Mogish. He came in and had a great game as an option running quarterback. The wind was absolutely ferocious from one side to the other, and it seemed North Schuylkill was going into it the whole game. When Gavin Munzer, who we had on the show last week, punts a ball and the wind takes it straight up in the air and almost over his head, if the wind was strong. North Schuylkill loses 36-7 to a really good Northwestern Lehigh team that I think is going to make a long postseason run. The Spartans got to the championship game. They own Notre Dame Green Pond. That's a team they have beaten. They haven't figured out Northwestern Lehigh yet.
Yeah, I think you got that one correctly. Hats off to the Spartans on a valiant season. We had question marks from the first game. Who was going to run the ball? Well, we found that out very quick. It was Luke Miller. I think next year we might be in that boat again in some positions, some spots there for them. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? I think next year our lesson is, when it comes to the Spartans, is we need to relax and trust that they are going to get it done.
Well, Caden Mangle and Luke Miller lead a long list of returning players for North Schuylkill, so I don't think Wally Hall's team is going to go anywhere. They'll be back in the mix for a championship again next year. Let's talk about the championship slobber knocker on Friday. Schuylkill Haven, Williams Valley. The first meeting was an intense 38-30 Schuylkill Haven win. 32-30 Schuylkill Haven ahead. They get the ball right at the end of the third quarter and they march 80-some yards, 10 minutes off the clock. They throw a pass to get a touchdown, which they hadn't thrown a pass all game. And then needed an interception after that to prevent Williams Valley from tying the game. So what do you expect for Friday night?
I expect it to be good old-fashioned Coal Region hard-nosed football. Two very historic franchises around our parts. Two legacy, building for teams. Kids that we've heard for many years now. At this point, kids that we've heard last year at this point playing each other. So I just expect it to be everything. Everything but the kitchen sink, I guess. Fireworks left and right, big plays, tough tackles. Everything.
And those two teams know each other well. This will be the fourth time they've played each other in the last 2 years. Havens won the 2 regular season matchups. Williams Valley won in last year's District 11 championship game as Alex Aukenbach was just awesome. I think he scored or threw for every touchdown, all 7 of them in that game. That game was at North Schuylkill. This year's game is at Blue Mountain. The Vikings got to the championship game with a 49-14 rout of Penn Argyl. Brady Schomper, who we just had on here, he rushed 18 times for 169 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. He threw a couple of touchdowns. It was a big game for offensively for everybody involved that we just had on the show, and some of the guys that we haven't mentioned. Guys like Skylar Green and Trayvon Bear. They've have big years on the Williams Valley defense as well.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm super excited. I expect it to just be everything that we are expecting it, right? When the tough ground game, Williams Valley's ability to hit some big plays in the air, maybe sprinkle in some turnovers, special teams big play. Who knows what's going to happen.
And in the previous matchups between these teams, we've seen all of that. Kyan Krzyzanowski's touchdown on the opening kickoff started last time's game, the last meeting, and there was big pass plays from the Williams Valley side. There was the grind out big runs from Schuylkill Haven early in the game. Schuylkill Haven just dominates executive education in their semifinal, 53-14. All the hype and all the buzz about executive ed, win over Minersville, shut them down in the quarterfinals, had speed everywhere, and Haven just came out and punched them right in the face and kept punching until there was nobody left, until it was a rout. And that was typical Schuylkill Haven football. They've won 11 straight games since losing to Blue Mountain, a game they could have easily won. Had a lead in the fourth quarter. Haven's clicking on all cylinders, but so is Williams Valley.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I honestly, I don't have much more to say on this. Besides that, I expect it to be fireworks, to say the least. I expect it to be, just a perennial, the best playoff matchup you could get in this county almost.
And, if you're going to the game, you need to buy a ticket online. Mm-hmm. They do have people that kind of stand at the gate and they have like a phone or show you on your phone how to get a ticket, but you need to buy them online. You need to go to District 11's website, which is www.districtxi.hometownticketing.com. They cost $7 with some fees added to it, I think. You'll need to buy tickets. T102, as part of this whole exciting Friday of football is going to have a pregame tailgate in which you are kind of spearheading.
Yeah.
It'll be located on the baseball field side of the stadium, which is the main road as you come off of 443 into the school complex. We'll be right down there to the right of the brand new main entrance to Blue Mountains Eagles Nest Stadium. You will be there, Matty Fresh will be there, Casey Owen will be there, and then guys like me and Del Houck and Jim Mistician and Bob will all kind of migrate there at some point. That sounds like a pretty awesome. Are you making any food? Is there
I'm
a
not
grill
making
with
any
this
food.
thing?
I'm personally not making any food, and that's probably for the betterment of the rest of everybody that's coming to this. But there will be food, there will be prizes, and there'll be a lot of fun. There'll be chaos, and it's going to be a great time. I can't wait. If you're listening to this, 5 o'clock, we'll be there. You know, there'll be, like I said, food, prizes, songs, chaos beyond
Little
belief.
college
Chaos.
game day type
College
action.
game day. If you wake up on a Saturday and you enjoy college game day and you like Schuylkill County football, this is your world collider right now.
So make some signs.
Make some signs.
Clean,
Yep. School appropriate. School appropriate.
It's school appropriate.
Yep.
Make some signs, carry 'em around, dress up with face paint. Go all out.
Yeah.
Be an awesome fan, and maybe we'll have you, get you some hair time. Or
We'll have tons of people roaming around the tailgate.
There'll be videos from this thing.
Absolutely.
Maybe you'll see some in our next edition of our podcast.
Absolutely.
Folks, thanks for watching this week's edition of the Fourth and Short podcast. We'll be back next week with whatever team is left, whether it's Schuylkill Haven or Williams Valley, and we'll be talking football, and then maybe a little look to the winter, because right around the corner is basketball, swimming, and wrestling. So this is Eli Doyle. I'm Leroy Boyer. We'll see you next week.